Body jumping on this one. Let's see.
Why? I
No,
thought this was a live one.
it is,
I thought
but
we were doing this live.
we're live. Okay, I think we're good. Unless we hear about any audio problems, I think we're ready to roll.
All right, cool.
Hi, William. How are you?
William who?
It does not
I-
say which William it
Is it a
is.
William? Is it a William we know?
It does not say. It does not say. I was gonna pull something up real quick while we're getting some momentum built up here.
Okay, go ahead, because I'm trying to oh shit, get some stuff situated so
So
people can see
so
the new
how?
stuff going on.
Oh yeah, I noticed you got all that. You got all that swag just all over.
Yeah, looky.
I wore a Masonic Improvement polo to a degree on Saturday, and the brother asked me if we had any like 3XL. I don't
Not
know,
yet.
not yet. I didn't know if that was in the plan,
Uh,
but no,
yeah, that's going to be something we have to just get a few of, and because man, that's
a few.
the majority of people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna say we like to eat in Freemasonry. I don't think we'll.
yeah, but I'm not gonna.
So I was
This
gonna.
is Go ahead.
I was gonna say we have two new members just joined over the weekend. One's name is T.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's growing very quickly. We have TR is the name that we have, and John Muntz. So as always, I don't know if they're brothers or not, but I definitely appreciate uh, the support. Your membership helps to grow Masonic Improvement, helps us to level it up and improve it. So definitely appreciate you just stepping up and joining the movement.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I'm gonna shed a little bit more light on this situation
Oh, it's William
real quick.
Batters.
Oh,
I thought
William
William
Batters.
Batters
How are you?
and Seth Spangler's here and
Nice.
Oliver's here. Oliver, what's your last name?
Got all our rowdy friends.
Yes, all of our rowdy friends are here, so that's great.
So, guys, this is our new Masonic Improvement T-shirt. I just wanted to show you guys. It's just fresh off the press. That's the Masonic Improvement T-shirt. This is the Masonic Improvement hat. Of course, it has square image on the side because that is the producer, which is my company, and then Masonic Improvement on the back. And these are flex fit hats, so they're it's like a fitted hat, except it's a little bit flexible to kind of uh, allow people to shape them to their heads, which is kind of cool. And I've got some devices that I
Yeah,
use to do that.
hold the back up closer to the camera, or hold the
Okay.
whole hat up so we can see it better.
Well, this is one right here. Well, this is I haven't it's a little bit wrinkled. This one's wrinkled. I haven't shaped it yet. I've got to shape these still. This is the pains of having your own company. You don't get it all pretty and pristine, so you got to shape it once you have it made, once you make it. So, I just made it, and in fact, this is going to be smaller next time. It came out a little bit bigger than I had planned on it, a lot bigger than I had planned on it, but it's going to be smaller next time. But this is first gen stuff, man. So when people get these, they're getting first generation Masonic Improvement swag.
Hmm.
But it shapes pretty good. Looks pretty good when it's all on and everything. And then I got this polo. Uh, this one here is a large, which barely fits me right now because I've gained a lot of weight since having my surgery. So it's it's a little bit tight on.
Yeah. So
And
it
then
wasn't Oliver that joined. It was Olivier, Adam Olivier from
Olivier,
Soul Ross.
nice.
Yes,
And
and
then
then
here's the polo style.
James
Go ahead.
Kirkpatrick is now on also. William
All
says
right.
maybe y'all can have some at the Perfect Union Masonic Education Expo.
I knew
What
there was a reason he came on.
what is
Yes,
that?
yet I will. I'll have some there. I It's basically doing the same thing that we're going to do with the Masonic Improvement Movement. They're going to have some esoteric talks, and then they're going to end it with a festive board.
Nice.
That's at the beginning of the year. It's January 7th, I think, if I remember right. Is that correct, William?
When is
But
Grand
yeah, it's going to
Lodge?
be a good time.
Is it out? That'd be like the week before
It's the
Grand
week
Lodge, then.
after. It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks after. 2 weeks after Grand, or 2 weeks. 2 weeks before Grand Lodge.
Oh, okay.
So it's the first weekend after, of course, New Year's, and then it'll be 1 week to recuperate from that weekend, and then the next week is Grand Lodge.
Man, wow.
It's gonna be a busy month,
So, yeah, William says.
but it's always busy down here in South Texas.
William says full day of guest speaker and then a festive board on January 7th. Masonic
Yep.
vendors and Masonic tattoo artists. So you can get a square and compass tattoo while you shop for Masonic shirts, I guess. That's
Yeah, because I'll have my square image products there. Man, I got a lot of new swag. I've got four, five different shirts and five new hats. I haven't put the hats out for people to see yet. I'm fixing to probably tomorrow. I'll get them ready to put them up on the web and let people see them. But yeah, I'm a vendor down there, and I'm gonna of course be strutting the Masonic improvement stuff as well, because it's Masonic improvement is my passion. Um, the being a vendor is kind of it's a passion as well. But I'm hoping that someday it'll turn into an actual business. It is a business, but it's I'm hoping it'll really formulate into something cool.
let's see.
If you've looked on Facebook, pictures that I put on Facebook, I added my own stuff to our Masonic Improvement Facebook page. I highlighted our stuff, and then later on in the pictures, you can see the stuff that I've produced as well. And I'm going into a fine line of shirts, French cuff shirts and stuff like that, and pretty awesome stuff.
That is very cool. Brother Fluff is with us now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Brother Fluff,
Yeah.
how are you? Glad you came.
So
Glad you made it.
I'm just surprised that I have not heard about the Perfect Union event. I guess it's invitation
Well,
only. I guess I didn't make the cut
No,
on that.
it's a purchase deal. It's just like any other. It's a fundraiser, so you
Yeah, but
purchase your tickets
I
to
have
get.
heard nothing about it.
It's on Facebook.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I guess.
he it's been advertised quite a bit, and then of course, we'll have William on later on to let him talk about it.
Yeah, that'd be good. I was gonna say he should. Is he running the thing? Putting it all together?
Well, he's a member of Perfect Union, and the lodge is doing it. It's a lodge fundraiser, but William's a big part of it, and he of course stole our idea on doing the the education and then the festive board, of course. But that's okay. It's okay. It's okay, William. We get it. We get it.
Okay.
But
William has sent me the information now. So
yeah, he's probably gonna send you a free ticket. He made me only a vendor. He didn't want me to be a presenter. He wanted me to just be a vendor.
man, kind of put him on the spot right now.
I know, right?
No,
Calling him out.
don't send me a free ticket.
No, it's
Don't
okay.
send me a free ticket.
No, I don't need to be a speaker anyways. We've got our own platform. We do very well with it.
Yes.
But he's gonna have some good guys coming on. Joe Wages. He man, he's a really sharp individual and Mason in Texas Freemasonry, and that's probably my most exciting one that I'll see. I've seen a lot of the other ones, but I'm excited to see one of this new one from Joe. It'll be a good one.
So I've always heard great things about Joseph Wages, and despite that, as much as I have traveled across the state, I have never crossed paths with him. But I've heard really good things. Seth said they didn't want me to go. Yeah, that's what I figured. They didn't want me to. Then Fluff said, "You must not watch the Fluff channel. I promoted it last week." Fluff, I cannot keep up with all your content, man. You put out so much good stuff. I just
Fluff has got it going on, man.
He does.
Fluff has got it going on. He is the premier Masonic presentator of multimedia.
Yes, he's very
product.
good. He's very, very good at what he does. But
he is, and we're very proud of him too.
Yes. Trent M says, "Fraternal greetings, brethren, from Australia." Thank you for coming.
Oh, very cool. Thank you for coming, Trent. That is awesome. We know that we reach people, worldwide, and it's so awesome to hear from you guys directly when you do. We are going to have more of these live events. We've got the kinks figured out. We got to get Brother Fluff back on now that we've got the kinks out of it.
Yeah, we got.
And then
we need to make it a weekly thing instead of just whenever, really.
Yeah. We got to figure out a good time though. So maybe you brothers can help us on knowing a good time. Our brother from Australia, what time is it in Australia right now? I'm curious to know, because that's good information to know if we're going to be doing these lives. If this is a good time for it, this is what we'll be doing then. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I
think we want to reach the most people we can.
Seth says he's ready to get into other things. I think a brother here knows what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, Seth. We know. We know what you're talking about. Talk about collecting those Pokemon cards, right?
Uh-huh.
It's tomorrow in Australia.
It's tomorrow in Australia, but what time frame? Is it an hour that a lot of brothers would want to?
I think Australia's about 12 hours, depending on where in Australia you are.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, it seems that way. That's very awesome, though.
Yeah, Seth's running for the Grand South, apparently. That's what he was talking about. He's getting into other things. He's getting into the Grand South. Oh, it's 1:48 p.m. on Monday over there in Australia.
Very cool. Wow, lunchtime. Thank you for joining us for lunch, man.
Lunchtime?
Have a pint for us, man. It's that time. What
time do you eat your lunch at?
Dude, I don't wake up until noon. After this surgery, oh my gosh, my time has been so off. It's been so crazy.
Gotcha.
If y'all don't know, last week I had 3 rods put into my hip because I'm old. It's to hold my SI joint together and so I can walk again.
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet. I'm still on that medication just so I can sit up and talk.
Man, we even have a Lance Candler here now.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, do any others have questions? The big reason why we want to have these lives is to hear questions from you brothers on topics that are important to you, and maybe we can give some insight of what we've seen, what we know, what we've heard of. We're just basically filling in the gaps while we're waiting for you guys to put our hands to the fire, man.
While we're seeing if anyone has anything, I do have a talking point that has been on my. Oh, Seth's got something. What? Oh, how does Justin say so cool? Well, it's a very good question, Lance, and I appreciate you asking me that. The trick is to watch everything that Dennis does and do the opposite of those things.
Exactly the same thing. So it is to wait until Dennis feels good enough to get on camera before doing a live show, because otherwise it's going to bomb.
Notice how Dennis and I just said the opposite thing? That's the trick right there.
Yes. And is that bright to y'all? Because that's like right in my eyes. But I want you to see my smiling face again.
The only
Sing,
opposite
sing.
thing I would do, the only opposite thing I would not do is wear that sweet Masonic Improvement swag because that just looks too good. Everything else,
Yeah,
exact opposite of Dennis.
yeah, yeah.
He's in South
But
Texas. I'm in
not
North.
everybody can, but not everybody can be pretty and intelligent and able to talk on any subject at any time.
So
Not everybody's got that gift.
Seth
Sorry, Seth.
asked, is having floor plaque practice important or having your officers there at meetings only important? I'll
Woo.
speak. I'll speak from my
Go
perspective on
ahead.
this. If uh, you have a set day every week and you go for practice, and 50, 60, 70% of the time, everybody's just hanging out in the secretary's office, just spinning their wheels and not accomplishing anything, it's a waste of time, and you're not really accomplishing anything. But if you have a focused floor school saying like we're going to do this week, this week, this the other week, and if you're intentional about what you're doing, then it's very effective. It's made a big difference at Hillsboro. The brothers that are going through the line right now, they weren't too hot starting off. A lot of them are pretty new to the fraternity. However, I'm the district instructor for my district, so once we started doing that, and they started showing up as relatively regularly and getting the practice in, it's made a huge difference. And a lot of them had to come. It was required due to the requirements for being installed that were kind of new this year,
Yes.
which I think were
Yes.
fantastic. And so a lot of them were coming for practice, and it just became something that they got used to doing. But it made a huge difference at Hillsboro.
What's sad is that, and I've got quite a bit to say about this real quick, and I'll make it quick. What's sad is that people had to be required to do this. Goliad's been doing this for a long time, and this is what revived our lodge. So if you're looking for something to revive your lodge, before you start forcing education as far as esoteric onto everybody, first get know your work. First, make a nice presentation of your lodge when anybody comes to visit.
Mm-hmm.
When you're showing up, you should know what you're doing, know what you're saying, and don't make yourself look like a fool. And so we've had this floor school now for years, and there were brothers that were not coming to lodge because they thought, this is the biggest joke I've ever seen. And so we had a couple of brothers that started this years ago, and they don't go anymore. In fact, one of them has passed away, but the floor school kept going.
Yeah.
So it started off, and there were times when there was only one or two of us there, but every Wednesday, everybody shows up for floor school, and it's usually minimum, 10 to 15 people that show up. So what we do is downstairs, we have our guys that are learning the work downstairs, and then we have upstairs where we have all the brothers that are in the lodge learning different roles, learning their, if you're an officer of any seat, you should know the seat you just got out of and the seat you're fixing to go into, as
Mm-hmm.
well as the one you're sitting in.
Absolutely.
So you should know those positions, and that's what floor school does. Now, we made sure that we did not stop doing it over all those years. And some days there was only one or two people. Some days it felt like, it was just going to fall apart, but we stuck with it. You have to stick with it,
Mm-hmm.
because you are going to have those days. But now we're at a point to where we've got all these brothers that are coming in that are learning the work downstairs, and they're seeing with their own eyes the brothers that come in every
Mm-hmm.
week that are going upstairs to learn the work, learn how to improve themselves in not only what they say, how they say it, enunciating properly, being able to put in the the tones when they need to be put in the right places during the degrees and stuff like that, so that it's not all monotone and boring. Um, and also exactly how you're supposed to do your footwork
Yeah.
when you're doing your hand, feet, posture, everything. So
So I'll make a quick comment.
cannot speak
We have a
enough on
lot of people on chat just blowing it up. So let me make a quick comment.
that. Nice. Well, that's all I wanted to say is
Okay.
that, man, you got your young guys seeing your old guys coming back, and it makes them keep coming back.
Yeah.
So it's a perpetual improvement of your lodge. So I say 100%
Yeah.
do it.
But you're absolutely
and
right
do it.
about consistency. Like when you start organizing floor schools, the first time I went, it was just me, and it was like that for a few weeks. It takes consistency and just reminding people that this is what we're doing. And then of course once.
But that's with anything.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. But it's easy to get discouraged. But if you're persistent with it, then you'll be successful. And it like you said, it makes all the difference. Opening and closing, it makes all the difference. The degrees makes all the difference. And what I have found is that like attracts like. So once Hillsborough kind of became focused on getting more proficient with the memory work, we started attracting other brothers who have the same interests. We have one
they
brother
wanted
from
to be a part of it.
yeah, we got a brother from Lancaster. It's like 45 minutes north. He comes down
Right.
very often. He's very active in our district, and he lives in Lancaster. Robert DeLuna has recently joined our lodge. He was a Knight of Mecca, a former A-cert holder. He's working
Nice.
back on that, and so we're attracting like-minded brothers, and it's really great, especially from a district instructor perspective, because now I'm getting more people with A certificates in the district that can also help and assist. And so
Yeah, we have five certificate holders in our lodge right now because of that. I can attribute it to that.
Yes, Robert DeLuna is a fantastic Mason. He is. And thank you for your compliment, Brother Kirkpatrick. I appreciate that.
And one last thing though, go ahead. Finish complimenting your brother.
No. I was going to address something that a concern that a brother had.
Okay, while you find it, I'm just going to say
I got it. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
The reason I said that before you start your esoteric part is because everybody needs to do the floor school. Everybody needs to know the work, whether you're esoteric minded and more into the philosophical like I am, or more of the nuts and bolts, let's make sure all the words are perfect and all that kind of minded person. You have different people in life.
Yeah.
And in the lodge, but everybody needs to know how to do the work, and then you build from that. So it's just something I wanted to say, because I'm an education guy, and that's.
Have you been very active on Texas Freemasonry? I know you've been down on your back. That's why I'm asking. Have you been very active on the Texas Freemasonry Facebook page this week?
I have not. Well, I've been a little more active this week than I have.
So Brother Fluff had a comment. Texas Freemasonry social media had an extremely tough week this week. How do we as influencers keep everything under control when so many brothers like to forget about the compasses? And so what he's referring to, especially for those for like Australia,
keep it between the points, brothers.
Is there was I know it was a conversation about the Confederate
we shouldn't bring up
we shouldn't
bring up the actual Facebook page, because we shouldn't, just letting you know.
Yeah. Well, okay.
But
some other Facebook page, not the one I mentioned.
It's out there, but since it's
not
out
the one
there,
I mentioned, but
I did see that, and I was so disappointed.
I only saw the aftermath, but it looked like it had been a terrible mess.
Well, I went back because I saw a brother ask if anybody was going to go to this outdoor degree that is for the okay, so basically it was somebody asking if people would attend the outdoor degree that everybody has done in the Confederate uniform and whatnot. And it didn't appear like it was hey, come see this historical degree that we've been doing for years. It was more of a confrontation of, are you going to go or are you not because you don't believe in that or whatever. It seemed like a confrontational type
Mm,
of a post from what I saw. And I got to say, man, there's no room for the romancing of that era in Freemasonry. There's no room for that because that's not what we stand for.
yeah.
The the Freemasonry is the furthest thing from that. Now, I won't say that it's a bad thing that we have that history because it was our history, and it was a part of history that we had to go through to get through to where we are today. But do we want to romanticize it and in that manner? Absolutely not, because I do not believe in bigotry. I do not believe in in purposely
Yeah.
trying to
If you
put keep somebody down. If you see what I'm doing,
if you start romanticizing it, you can't pick and choose. You can't sugarcoat it. Either if you're romanticizing
right,
part of it, you're romanticizing the entire thing. And so,
right,
yeah, like James Kirkpatrick said, we should keep politics out of Masonry. And so,
well,
since this was brought up, this is something that's been on my mind for a few weeks now. Okay, and so
okay,
I'm going to share a story, and it was already bothering me, and then seeing all this stuff that popped up on the page that shall not be named, uh,
right,
it really just kind of brought it back up. I went to a degree, and I won't say where, and I won't say who it was or anything like that. And it was I don't remember what kind of degree it was, but anyway, we
I'm just gonna show these while you're talking.
sure. And so I went to a degree, and I was assisting with it, and I noticed that the candidate, and this was like after he had already, well, but I noticed the candidate was wearing a shirt with the Confederate flag on it, and he was part of some like heritage organization, I guess, or something.
Right,
And
right.
his mentor was there.
There is
I'm aware.
an
I'm aware.
association. Yeah.
His mentor was there wearing the same thing, and I don't I'm not saying it was coming from a place of racism or anything like that, but early in the day, I was like, I had thought about reaching out to one of the brothers that was new to the district, and he's an African American guy, and things just got busy, so I didn't, and I was kind of glad I didn't after I was sitting
Yeah,
through that,
right, right.
and so
Yeah, that would be embarrassing.
well, I mean, the more I was thinking about it, it's like I don't know, like you wouldn't wear or you shouldn't wear like a Donald Trump shirt to lodge, or you shouldn't wear a Joe Biden shirt to lodge, or anything like that, right? And so you really shouldn't wear a Confederate shirt to lodge, and that's probably on the. I don't know. I have a lot of different thoughts about that, but I think like this is why we need dress codes, or this is why we need to really step up our game on informing brothers like these are the standards and these are the kind of things we don't wear
Well,
because
that's why in the beginning they said that everyone would wear a dark suit. That was the whole reason why. It wasn't to strut your stuff on how fancy you can be or whatever, but suits were the norm and they were the leveling up, as that shirt says. It's leveling up, leveling yourself up, and it was also to keep uniformity in the lodge so
yeah,
that there's less of that type of attention. I'm sure that that was a big thing right after the Confederate War that people were not to wear, different clothing that might have, been in that situation. That would have
yeah,
been tough. I
yeah,
mean,
I
that's just a kick in the face to Freemason.
yeah,
But I'd also like to say, I do disagree with you and Brother Kirkpatrick, and now it should not be, and it states that it's not supposed to be in a tiled meeting. It's not supposed to be in a stated meeting. And I completely agree. There should never be any talk or anything of politics or religion in a stated meeting. It's a stated meeting. It's a business meeting.
Mm-hmm.
But Freemasonry was founded on the discussion of intellectual men finding finding solutions to the problems of the day politically and religiously. Because, and it wasn't necessarily religiously, but we were finding the solutions because we were presenting Freemasonry as, you have your religion, we all believe in God. So that's so of course, if you're going to discuss that and philosophize on those characteristics, then it goes beyond religion. But at the same time, you are speaking on faith and spirituality. And so I do disagree that that shouldn't be going on in Freemasonry. If that's the mindset, then I think that people have Freemasonry. They have the wrong idea of what Freemasonry is. But
I think it's a fine line. I think
but you don't go and talk your specific politics against each other and argue your points on stuff like that. It's just something you contemplate.
You don't bring your politics to the lodge. You don't.
Right.
Now, as a Mason, I wholeheartedly agree, Masons should be involved politically in their communities and however else they feel inclined to do. But those are conversations for elsewhere.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because because we're evolved people, and because we live on the precedent of brotherly love and affection, we're supposed to be able to work and agree that it's just a conversation. We're just discussing the pros and cons of each thing so that we can find the higher level of thinking, right? So it's not that you're arguing to win the battle or the point like we do today, but it's to have the discussions that help us to become a better people. And if we are living in true brotherly love and affection, we should be able to do that, and there shouldn't be an issue. And if somebody can't do that, maybe they ought to think about how they are inside in regards to brotherly love and affection.
Yeah. Brother Fluff says,
that's my opinion.
Brother Fluff says, is it ever bad to start training the next generation of officers?
Absolutely not.
No. I have thought about this numerous times, and I'm sure there's probably something out there floating around in the secretary database or something like that. But we need a formalized, structured curriculum to start putting guys through when we think that they are leadership material, and it should probably accumulate with OLT or something equivalent to that. But
well, even if it's not an OLT, it's a mentorship. Flat out, it's a mentorship.
Yeah,
that's what it all boils down to. And absolutely, Fluff, we should be. Now, not saying that you're going to be the next junior warden, because I don't think young brothers should be officers in the lodge right away. I think they should really understand Freemasonry first.
Yeah.
But there's no reason they shouldn't be learning and understanding the processes. I mean, we're supposed to be giving them the bylaws when they become a Master Mason. If your lodge isn't doing that, they're failing automatically.
Yeah. Says Fluff again. Wait, getting a newly raised Master Mason to jump in at the line at junior warden isn't good enough. I know a lodge pretty close to where I live, and the Marshal Master has been a Master Mason 3 years now. So and it's you can tell because he went straight from turning in his Master Mason proficiency to sitting in a warden's position to sitting in the East. And
Right.
I mean, he's gone to officer leadership training, and he's trying, but I mean,
Fortunately,
geez,
fortunately, yes,
yeah, fortunately,
fortunately.
but I mean, it
But you wanna talk about losing Masons, man. You get them into the catfighting of and the bickering of the politics of the lodge, and you're that's when we take a big chance on losing young brothers to
yeah.
to just going home, walking away, because it's a tough position. And if
Uh,
you don't have that strong foundation of Freemasonry before you begin that journey, it can be taxing. I
yeah,
have a strong foundation, and it has been taxing on me to the point that I am today.
yeah. Red Raider says lodges should be a welcoming and friendly place for all, not a place where you have to wonder if you have to defend your views or not, just walking in the door. And and
You're right, and there
that's
should be no defending views. There, there should be no defending views.
I get what you were talking about earlier, Dennis. Like we should. I mean, sure, we should all be able to sit around and have a like a classical discussion where nobody's offended, and hopefully somebody learns something from someone else. But I don't think we're at that point in most lodges.
Well, you're right. You're right. We're not, and that's a sad thing. At least not in Texas. There are a few lodges that I can.
I'm losing you,
It's
Dennis.
but
You're getting fuzzy on me. You there?
yes,
Okay, now I can hear you. Oh, we got another question. Are you ready, Dennis? I mean, you there?
yes, yes. I'm here.
Okay. First of all, Fluff said don't talk about 3-year Masons. He's just 2-year. We're not talking. I'm not talking bad about it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You are the example, Fluff.
Yes, yes. They can't all be. They can't all be brother Fluff. That we'll just
No,
leave it
we
at
love you,
that.
Fluff.
We'll just leave it at that.
No, we love you. You've got some great things going on, some great ideas, and that's what you have to bring to the table, and that's what many brothers have to bring to the table is it's some fresh ideas.
Yeah. So, brother Olivier, question: what do you think causes past masters, especially recent past masters, to stop showing up after their year in the East, and how can this be remedied?
I think there's a couple of things. Go ahead, Justin. I'll let you speak first on it.
I touched on this a bit. I think you're referring to a thread that someone else started earlier today, and I touched on it, and I'll just reiterate and reinforce my opinion is that it really all comes down to leadership. I think people stop coming because they get burned out, and they get burned out because they have goals for their year and they don't get any kind of support. Maybe they aren't prepared properly to actually lead the lodge, and the other quote unquote leadership has no accountability, and so no one has any follow through, and it ends up just being one person or a handful of people doing all the work to try to end the year gracefully, and hopefully it'll be successful. And by the time they're done, they say, well, no one helped me. I'm burned out. It sucked. I don't want to do it again. I don't want to see these people, and so they just leave. And there's several things to unpack from that. First of all, is the experience, which is important. A good worshipful master needs to know what reasonable expectations are. Needs to be familiar with goal setting and just basic leadership, but also needs to be familiar with getting building
You have to get the
support.
buy-in.
Yeah, buy-in. That's
Yeah,
what I was
you have
saying.
to
You have to build
you have to
buy-in for
get
your
the
ideas.
buy-in from your brothers,
If you
and
just
you have to know how to do that.
yeah,
If you don't know how to do that, you'll
if you
fail
just
miserably.
if you just get installed and then you gavel and say, hey, we're gonna I don't know, we're gonna start wearing tuxedos every meeting, regardless if you like it or not. You don't have the buy-in. You just sat down and made this decree, and probably most people don't have tuxedos. If you had built it up, maybe led by example for the last few years and got people on board with it, maybe you would have had more success one direction or the other.
You
But
know, brother brother Dave Meckham, he wanted to do that years ago, and he wanted everybody to wear suits, and they still do in his lodge. But
Hmm.
he bought all of his officers a suit
Yeah.
for when his during his year, so that they had a suit, and that way there was no monetary issue there.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing in asking all of my officers to do that, and though one of them didn't, out of just out of spite for me,
Hmm.
but now wears one all the time just because he likes it. He was just giving me a hard time because he was showing me that I couldn't be the master that just ruled with an iron gavel.
Yeah.
You can't be that guy, and I get it. And he and I are real close friends. I love him to death, and I would not be the man I am today or the Mason I am today without the support of Brother
Yeah.
Scott, and he knows that.
But
I don't know that he'll be listening to this, but he knows that.
there's one more thing I want to touch on for that, is that
Me too.
going back to accountability, as an organization, any successful organization has to have accountability. If you say you're going to do this, if you accept a position like a job and you have a job description, you're suspected to fulfill that job description, and
Yes.
usually that's not the case. Most people just go through the year just sitting in their position, saying what they're supposed to say, but they don't follow. They don't go through the actual description of what their role is. And
Well,
furthermore,
it's because we push too far that it's a volunteer organization. And so,
yes,
they feel
yes.
like, well, it's just, I'm here, you're lucky that I'm showing up every week or whatever. That's
Well, we
and
start
that's just not the attitude to have.
we start them
We
off.
should not be putting those guys in office.
No, we start them off
Go ahead.
as an air apprentice, saying that, hey, you need to be here whenever you can, but here your lot, your job, your family, all these things come first. Which is sure, yeah, that's understandable, but it's meant to be the exception, not the norm.
We're also told how much time to utilize in each day
Yeah,
with certain things, and I can assure you a lot more time is going to everything else than the 8 hours in the day that should go to
yeah.
God and a distressworthy brother.
So we really need to stress.
I
think
assure
think
you.
if we start
And
stressing,
I can say that with myself.
if we start stressing from day one with the EAs, hey, it's important that you're here. It is important. Yeah. It's expected. You joined us for a reason. If you don't show up, you wasted everybody's time. So
well, and yes, and that's a big thing right there is that expectation, because what's worse than having somebody come through, it's almost like when you've got this new guy has all this attention going through all the degrees, and as soon as he's done, everybody forgets about him and goes to the next new guy, and they're putting all their attention into the next new guy.
Yeah.
So it's almost the same thing and I think it goes back to the mentorship. If you don't have good mentorship and a good mentorship program in your lodge and intentional about it, then that's what's hurting us the most. I think that's our biggest failure in our lodges.
But if you have expectations for the little things when they're new, they'll follow through with the expectations for the bigger things when they start getting into the line.
And then again, like I said, the cat fighting. If you don't have a plan of attack and let everybody know what that is and get the buy-in for that plan of attack, all of these things are important to build on each other. If you don't do that, at the end of the year, all you've seen is a bunch of inward cat fighting in politics that you didn't like, and it's going to disgust you and make you walk away.
Yeah.
It's plain and simple.
Red Raider.
And then you can also see the people. You can also see the people who aren't interested in doing anything more than what they're doing, and that can be disappointing as well.
Red Raider says
that's the sad part.
Nowhere does it say that he's referring to the 21st gauge. Nowhere does it say, we're at Worshipful, first of all. That's you. Nowhere does it say that the parts are equal, but I agree that one thing that is neglected, but that is up to those brothers to remedy.
You should text me, Red Raider, because I know who you are. You know who I am. You should text me, Red Raider, because it is in there and it is equal. That is in there. I know you're a certificate holder. It does say equal, but it does say a portion to God for a distressed worthy brother, right?
Does it say equal
So
parts?
it's either or. Yeah,
Fluff it.
three, three.
Does it? Okay, I couldn't. It's one of those
It
things
sure
like if I
does.
just say it, the thing with memory work is if I just say it, it'll come out right usually. But if I start thinking about it, I get it all messed up. Uh,
And see, I'm the opposite. I think about it. I can't
I just talk and it just comes out.
say.
So
But it's okay.
fluff.
It's okay. That's what these kind of talks are for, right?
Yep.
Right?
Fluff
This is how we learn.
says
We get better.
we forget that after the degrees, it is still about our own free will and accord. You have to ask to be in line. You have to volunteer to serve, and it isn't the lodge's responsibility
Yes,
to recruit. So one thing,
exactly. Yeah,
one thing that I really like about the new requirement for the memory work to go into the line is these conversations are already happening. There's a conversation in my district. There's two guys that are interested in going into the South, and really the approach from the upper leadership of the lodge is like, well, your willingness to put in the work will determine who goes there, because ultimately they have to be certified
yes,
by the district instructor, right? And so
yes.
if one of them doesn't put in the work and the other one does, then there it is right there. They determine by their own efforts who's going where.
I can tell you, as right worshipful this year, I got to see all the brothers who willingly and wanted to do all this work, and who the ones who begrudgingly did, and who fell back on the I didn't have to. I'm a past master kind of thing, and you can see. I can tell you right now from just that. I can tell you who I would want on my team if I went further in any line.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you who I would want on my team.
Yep.
And that's how every lodge should be looking at any potential. And yes, Brother Fluff, you're absolutely right. We make ourselves available. We have to first make ourselves available to, but we shouldn't be throwing somebody into the South saying, I think you're good material for this, if they show no interest. If they haven't went above and beyond, if they're just meeting the status quo, that's not your officer. Your
I,
officer is the guy who goes above and beyond, in my opinion.
I think we have to look into the practice in a lot of lodges, and I'm not saying it has to be a certain amount of time, because that's ultimately up to the lodge and who they have active
Some people are
in their
made for it.
leadership. Well, what
Yeah,
I was
some
going to
people are
say
made.
is I think we do this thing where we
Sorry,
shoot
guys,
ourselves
I
in
got
the
to take
foot.
some drugs.
Sure, we do this thing where we shoot ourselves in the foot, and that is as soon as a brother gets the hang of being in the East, it's time for him to step down. And I also think that means that we feel like there's a sense of urgency to push
I
people
agree.
into leadership positions that aren't necessarily ready, just because we got to keep the progressive line moving. We don't want to upset anybody or whatever. I think if you have a good worship master, and if he's willing to remain in this spot, let him remain in this spot for however many years your lodge wants to do it,
Right.
or maybe just however many years he's willing to do it. As long as your lodge is not growing stagnant and the leadership is growing, then that's a
Yeah, if you
good
get,
thing.
if you have a guy that's really doing some good stuff, man, you might want to just keep him there one extra year,
Yeah.
and just see how far you can go, because that's I agree. I agree. Not everybody should be more than 1 year. I don't think there's some appendant bodies that once you get to a certain level, you're there until you die. I don't believe in that either.
No.
But I believe that based on performance and based on the fruit of the labor, absolutely, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And that should go with any position. If you got a guy that's a bang up senior warden, but he doesn't feel like he's ready to go into the master seat, man, let him be a bang up warden.
Yeah.
But I would say, if the junior warden isn't learning enough in his year to be able to jump into the EA, then you'd have to say, look, senior warden, I need you to, step back and let this guy go through the motions so that he can learn be his mentor, whatever. We'll let you come back into the line, but you know, when you're ready. But let's build up our lodge. We need to think
Yeah.
more about our lodge than ourselves. What it
Ultimately, and
is.
this is hard to do. It's not as easy as it sounds, but ultimately we have to be willing to put the right people in the right positions for as long as it takes. And that may mean that people get passed up, and that may mean that people get replaced over time. However, we this game we play of kitty gloving one another. Um, we have to stop that to a certain extent. And there's a way to do it. I'm sure that you can come across and explain that, hey, this is the person that we're going to vote for, that's going to end up in the in this position or whatever. But
That sounds like something we should talk about at during our Masonic improvement movement, because that is a big one right there.
yeah,
That determines the health of the lodge. That's a big one.
I
That's a
think
good nuts and bolts conversation.
yeah, this whole concept of slowing down the progressive line and just putting the most capable people in positions, it's a paradigm shift for a lot of lodges. It's a completely different approach to determining their officers. So yeah, I agree. That would be a really good thing to talk about at our conference whenever we have that, just for the purpose of kind of ironing out, just sitting down with people that are interested in doing it and hashing out how you might approach it at your lodge.
And I would definitely also point out, though, you want to make sure that there's no clicks in this form of doing this,
Yeah,
because that can happen easily.
yeah. I mean, you could
And
you could end up with a
because
lodge with
you don't want a bunch of bullies, because there's people that will bully their way in and bully their way um, to having their own way with the
yeah.
loudest people in the room and make sure that their way is gotten. And that's going to make brothers leave. That's going to make brothers leave. I've seen so many very active brothers just walk away because they see those bullies in the lodge that just stop everything that they don't believe in.
How do
We
y'all
just can't,
how do y'all feel
we
about
can't have
nominating?
that.
How do y'all feel about nominating against tradition? I don't like the holding seats game where a brother only sits in his chair 2 or 3 times a year. Yeah, I think that game has to go. I think that's the problem, and I think if you slow down the line, because usually the reason someone only shows up 2 or 3 times a year is because they got thrown in at the last minute to fulfill a
If
spot.
he's only showing up 2 or 3 times a year, unless he's deathly ill or going through like a serious issue that's going to be resolved, then he doesn't need to be in that
Yeah,
next seat.
yeah,
He needs to be taken out of the
and
line.
he definitely does not need
Now,
to advance.
if it's a legitimate reason, hold him back
Hmm.
and let him fulfill that year as a good and prove his value. In fact, that's the perfect time to hold somebody back and prove themselves. Then you'll know if it's just a one off, or if it's
Yeah.
a habit, a problem.
We got one question.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
what do y'all think
Yeah,
about Prince Hall? Man, I have not sat in a Prince Hall
love it.
lodge. Yeah, have you
I
sat in Prince
love
Hall
it.
before?
I have once in no, it wasn't a Prince Hall Lodge, but I've sat with Prince Hall brothers
Yeah.
and had conversations with them. And I'm going to tell you, they were smarter than 9 out of 10 of the brothers that I know.
See, I haven't sat in Prince Hall lodge, but I have sat with
They
Prince Hall
hold
brothers, like
themselves
you're
to
saying.
a whole different standard than we do.
Yeah, I was at a lodge in Waco, and there was some visiting brothers from Prince Hall, and uh, you can let me preface this by saying I'm not okay. I'll just say it. You could tell a brother's Prince Hall by the way they carry themselves when they walk into a lodge. Uh,
Yeah, it doesn't even matter what
no,
color they are.
no,
If you
no.
see them, well, right. But most people equate, because that's how it was
Yeah,
formed, right?
it's all
But
everything is
but
very
when
formal in the lodge.
oh
Just the way they
yeah.
carry
Oh
themselves.
yeah.
The angles are the corners are 90 degree. They're dressed nice. You could tell. You could tell just by the way
Yes.
that they stand, by the way that they address everybody in the lodge, by the way they
They
maneuver the
have
lodge.
so much pride in their fraternity.
Yeah,
So much pride in our fraternity, I should say,
yeah.
because it's our fraternity. We're all brothers.
I would love to
But
do a
yeah,
I would love to do a Prince Hall meetup, Fluff. I have
oh yeah,
I have been wanting to sit in the Prince Hall Lodge for a long time, just to see it with my own eyes. How they I've had a taste sitting in Prince Hall in lodges with Prince Hall brothers. I want to sit in a Prince Hall Lodge and just
right,
see how it's done.
right,
Yeah.
yes,
James Kirkpatrick says we can learn from our Prince Hall brethren about how we should conduct ourselves. I agree. I agree.
yeah.
And
But I bet they don't eat tacos, King. Sorry, brother.
yeah, yeah. I don't. I think
No, we all eat tacos. Don't get me wrong. This is Texas. Come on now.
I used to. It's probably kind of facetious. I don't know, but there's still a lot of lodges, Grand Lodges, that don't recognize Prince Hall, and I don't think. I think most jurisdictions have probably moved way past the historical reasons no recognition. I think, just me just thinking out loud, I think the main reason a lot of jurisdictions don't recognize Prince Hall is because many cases Prince Hall does it better, and they don't. Yeah,
I
and
would agree.
they don't want to open
I would
that
agree.
door.
You're
They don't want to open that
right.
door because now you got people coming
Yeah.
in wearing tuxedos, dressing nice, taking their work seriously, and the
Yeah, it's not just the dress. It's not just the attire. It's everything they do is on point, man. Everything. I mean, it's. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, brother Kirkpatrick.
yeah.
Kirkpatrick.
Yeah, Fluff says I think Prince Hall is so serious because they want that full recognition, and I could see that also. I could see that too. Like it's like where yeah, I can see where that might.
The
be
only
coming from.
problem The only problem, though, is that there have been a few offshoots that aren't so great that which has caused problems. Like having several Prince Hall Grand Lodges in one
Yeah,
state is kind of awkward. We only recognize one or two. I think that's kind of the biggest problem, is because there might not be the same what is that, formality, or the same what are my words? Give me my words. I don't have words.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying, though, don't you? Maybe not the same consistency in how they, you know, believe and talk, and some
yeah.
may be more traditional, some may not be, but I don't know. Who
So
knows?
so something that was asked,
I need to read more books on that.
is why do you think our membership is declining? I'll say based off, if you look historic, and we kind of talked about this before. If you look historically at the peak, and I'm sure it's probably the same I'm sure it's the same for Prince Hall as it was for mainstream, because if you look at like Rotary and Lions Club and Kiwanis, the trend looks the same. Around 19, I don't remember, 1959 or so was the peak, and then everything declined. So why are we shrinking? Because we're shrinking because we had nowhere else to go at that point. We're still declining from a very abnormal
It's a lot
increase.
less, though.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot less of an increase of decline than it used to be. I've seen the numbers, I've seen the data,
Yeah.
and we're actually closer to the bottom now, and we're just about to that point to where we're fixing to start thinking about, okay, so where are we going up with this?
Yeah.
So we've already got to start thinking about where we're going up with this, because we are at that point, and I can tell you that most of the growing lodges that are supporting Texas right now um, are the lodges that are doing all the things that we have talked about
Yeah.
online. Not that they listen to us, but they're doing all the things that we've talked about. They've tightened up their ritual. They've made sure there's esoteric discussion in their meetings. They make sure that they guard the West Gate and do a thorough investigation, and make it a lengthy investigation. They don't let people see their lodges before initiation.
So
There's a process. So those lodges are actually the ones that have the big numbers of growth right now because they're offering Freemasonry, whereas we've gotten too complacent in the majority of our lodges, and we're only offering bits and pieces of Freemasonry.
so
That's where it boils down to.
so Fluff made a comment that bowling leagues are even falling off. There's actually a book. I haven't read it, but I've heard great things. It's called
Oh, that's a good book.
Bowling Alone,
Yes.
and it's talking exactly what you're talking about. They use bowling leagues as an example, but all across the board, every city, every state, all across the country, all these organizations that used to be really huge and popular, they just don't have the numbers that they used to anymore. I did want to say that another comment was made. Oh gosh, I lost it. Red
Is it on the
Raider.
same subject?
Yes, it was Red Raider.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the reason he's talking about the decline, a lot of the reason is that we're just not out in the community the same as generations past. And
I disagree.
well, I do too, and here's why.
But there is a
40.
twist to that
Oh,
it'll make up for my
I
disagreement.
shouldn't have
Go
took a
ahead.
breath.
Go
I
ahead.
hesitated for a
Go
moment.
ahead.
And you took it. So 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever, you could go to the local festival and set up a booth and be seen in the community, and people would, yeah, there they are. Or you could put things in the newspaper, and people would acknowledge that you're active and existent. Uh, and we're still trying to use the same approach, and that approach isn't effective anymore. People don't go to festivals and stuff like that, not in the number that they used to, and even if they do, they're looking at these things. They're looking at these things everywhere they go, and so this is where we need to
But that's
be.
yeah, but
I,
that's not the decline of Freemasonry.
no,
That's the
talk
tool.
about
That's the tool we
talk
use.
about being
That's our
seen.
marketing tool.
If you
Yes.
want to be
Yes.
seen as an organization, this is where you have to be. And so I
Yes.
would say if you are at
Fluff gets it.
yeah, well, of course Fluff gets it. Fluff is the example. But
Yeah. Right.
if you are at a lodge, take a picture and post it. Tag yourself. Tag your brothers. Check in at the lodge. Make that a habit. Anytime you do anything Masonic, post it, share it. I even posted it to the Masons of Texas just to let everybody know, hey, things are going on here. If you want to come and see something
Well,
sometime.
here's the downfall of that though is that you got so many brothers that they think you're self-serving when you do that, and that you're doing it only for your own public notoriety and all that kind of stuff. And that's a sad thing. In fact, I'm going to be leaving a group because of that before too long, and you'll see that soon. But now I also wanted to touch on another thing. And this was something that brother Jim Runcie brought up to me, and I hadn't thought about it until we talked about it. We were going through this data, and we were going through these numbers, and we were looking at these years and all this kind of stuff. Now, another factor that's a big factor is back in the incline, in the influx, that was a time when suburbs were being built. They were being born and built, and people were moving out to the suburbs. They were having their barbecues. They were doing so the guy that your next door neighbor was your barbecue buddy. He was also in your bowling league with you. So why not be a Mason with you as well? So you had those associations through those other things during that time. That was kind of the thing. And now the suburbs are not a community of like-minded thinkers anymore. A suburb is more of a seclusion to where people are moving to their suburbs and they don't even know their neighbors. I lived in a very affluent neighborhood up in McKinney, and I couldn't tell you the names of any of those people that I lived around. And I lived around them for 10 years before I moved down to South Texas. And they were very noteworthy people. But I knew them at the time, but not very well. We didn't get together all the time. And so that thing is a thing of the past. So that whole common thread is kind of gone at this point. So now we've got to embrace the next the next common thread, which Justin had it right on the point. He had it on the money. You know,
Know
we're
it.
our commonality is talking on Facebook now. We talk, and you know, all the brothers that we've met throughout our journey, you know, we meet them on Facebook and then we meet them in person, and that just strengthens the bond. But that's how we're meeting them.
Yeah.
You know, it's not self-serving. We're just meeting people through today's technology.
So the comment was made. Plus, people think it's a lot of older guys. I'm 31, the youngest
It
brother
is in
there.
most places.
It
Yeah,
is. It is.
yeah.
But that goes back to why we need to be on Facebook and TikTok. Most people on TikTok are younger, right? Even if I post it on Facebook, I have a ton of Masonic brothers that are my Facebook friends, right? However, I also have everybody I went to high school with, most of my coworkers, uh, from several jobs, right? And so, or there's people I've met going to college or whatever. So there's a lot of people that are also not Masons that are seeing the stuff that I'm posting to my personal page. And that is getting exposure to the fraternity way more than you would if you just sat outside and slung barbecue on the side of the road during a festival or something.
Yeah, the fundraisers that we're doing for our marketing is not a good marketing strategy. And that's what they're being used for.
Well, tell me,
Guys,
tell me the
when
last time you ever heard a petitioner come up and say, "Hey, I saw you selling pancakes every Saturday, and I thought, hey, I wanted to be involved with that, and so
I
that's
want
why
to
I'm
sell
here.
pancakes.
I want to sell
I've
pancakes.
always had a pancake fetish.
I heard y'all have green beans here." No, no,
Right, right.
no one
Now
cares if you're out there on the
we
side of
do
the road.
hear some people saying, you know, the big reasons like the hospitals and the dyslexia programs and stuff with the Scottish Rite and the shrine, and but but that's still few and far between when you think about, you know, how many members come in the door, how many come in from that versus coming in by curiosity, especially now.
Hmm.
Now it's not for philanthropy. Now we're looking at guys that are really curious about their individualism, their spirituality, their intellect. Those are the guys coming in the door right now,
Yeah.
and we better be prepared to talk to them.
Yeah. Fluff says lodges and districts should not be afraid to promote and pay for localized posts. I agree wholeheartedly. We ran an experiment. Talk about fundraisers again, but we ran an experiment at Hillsboro. There's an annual fish fry that they've done for forever, and so the idea was, since this is the first time that we're doing it, coming back from the event, the big event that we won't name so we don't get demonetized or anything, but the big event that we couldn't meet for a long time. So that was the first time we did the fish fry since that happened, and the idea was, hey, let's promote this. And so one of the brothers, he paid for it because, but that was the only way to get it to happen really. And so he paid for it and got it promoted, and the exposure, like you could look at the analytics, and like a lot of people saw it, and we sold out within 2 hours, and so it's very effective. It's a great way to be seen, and I would say,
Right.
if you're gonna do it for like fundraisers. If your lodge has a Meet the Mason night, which I think is a great idea, then you should definitely advertise that, make it known.
I don't think you should do that at the lodge.
No,
I
I
think
agree.
if you're going to do that, you should do that in a socialized place. I don't think people should be coming to the lodge that are not members or are not we are not inviting to have dinner with us. And I don't think we should invite somebody to have dinner with us until we actually feel trust enough
Yeah,
in them to have dinner with our child.
yeah. No,
If I
I
don't feel like I trust them enough to have dinner with my child, I don't feel trust enough to invite them to dinner.
well, I think
I
it's
let's
one
go
thing.
visit outside,
It's
have a
one
drink,
thing
and see what
to go
see how they
meet with a
act.
Mason at a pub or something, and learn than it is. It's a whole other thing to go into this large ominous building that is out of my comfort zone, right? Granted, Freemasonry is all about going out of your comfort zone. However, for that first step, just meeting the person, answering some questions, it should definitely be away from the lodge, and he should not be invited to the lodge until, like you said, like the people that have been speaking with him are comfortable and they're ready to basically sponsor him into the lodge. I think ideally,
Right.
like if we're
Right.
talking ideally, I mean, people that aren't members really, unless their family was a member, they don't really know what to expect, right? They think we're kind of like this big fancy club. So why don't we make it a big fancy thing? Like, you don't come to the lodge. We'll meet with you off the lodge, away from the lodge, and if we like you, you'll get invited to come to the lodge to meet
And
everybody.
one of the
And that,
and based on data, one of the very most successful lodges in the Dallas area does that exact same.
yeah. And
And
just
that's why
because
I'm saying the proof is in the pudding.
and just because you're
It's
invited
just
to the
there.
lodge doesn't mean you're getting a petition. It just means you're being invited to meet everybody else.
Right. Right. Then you're being invited to have dinner and get to know members of the lodge. That doesn't mean you get to go into the lodge room either. You just get to have dinner. That's something that I feel pretty strongly on, and that has changed. A couple of years ago when they said, "Oh, let's have the open houses," man, I was the guy running out,
Yeah.
ready to take signs out. I showed up every weekend. I was doing that deal, and I was all excited about it. And now I look back and think, based on who came in, that was not a good idea.
Yeah. No, I was never a huge fan. I did it. We did it because we had to, right? But I was never a fan of that. Like it's people come for the mystery. I think don't just.
Right.
And I think these efforts at making everything more transparent and taking, well, I mean, you can't even petition the mysteries of Freemasonry anymore. But I think all these
Yeah.
efforts at taking the mystery
Yeah.
out, it's really like, oh, there's no mystery to it, so that doesn't sound exciting. Then that's not what I want.
Right.
I think the first time, ideally, the first time a guy sees the inside of the lodge is during the proper time in his EA degree, and that's it. That's that's when it happens.
Yeah. I agree. I I have, and I didn't always feel that way, but I agree now. There's no reason for us to explain ourselves and try to sugarcoat, who we are and prove that we're not, you know, Satan worshipers and all that kind of stuff. I don't care what anybody thinks about me or my fraternity. I really don't care. I know who I am. I know where I stand, and I don't need to talk somebody into joining my fraternity. I don't have to make them feel comfortable so that they'll want to join my fraternity.
So the
That's
question was
that's kind of
asked.
the way I feel now.
The question was asked. What about open meetings for community builder awards? I
Oh,
uh,
absolutely,
I uh, I
absolutely.
I actually, well, I think he's talking about doing it in the lodge.
Oh, in the lodge.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you I'll tell you what I think is practical, and then I'll tell you what I think is ideal. I think practically, if your lodge, like we did a community builder at Hillsboro, we did it in the dining room. We invited the family, and I mean it was a big family, and we had a really good dinner, and we presented the community builder award, and then everybody left, and we opened our lodge and opened. It was a stated meeting night, so after everybody left, we just had our business. On the other hand, something that I always thought would be really cool is if a district was to say, "Hey, once a year, we are going to have a festive board," and the district
or
sells,
have or have a banquet
yeah, they sell
for all the
tickets.
for all the community builder
Well,
awards
let
all
me
together.
slow your roll there, Puddinhead. I'll get there, but you
After he gets done, I'll tell you what I was thinking.
yeah, not a festive board because it'd be more like a banquet. Because I would
Right.
like, I think it'd be good if you could invite family to this. And basically, what it is you have a guest speaker just talking about something that's appropriate for everybody. It may even be may not even be a Mason. It may be like a local, like a politician or something. Maybe like the county judge, just talk about what's going on in the county or something like that. Just something informational, and someone that maybe you would like to get to join anyway. and then you have your meal, and
Or
then
or maybe like the president of the Rotary Club or something like
yeah,
that.
sure, yeah. I mean, that's a great idea too. And then after that, after the meal, like you said, that's when all the lodges present all their awards. And so you're talking about a really big dinner with a lot of people being exposed to Freemasonry, and maybe have like the president at
And
the
you
end
can
of it.
make it more fancy. Yeah, if you have more participation with the lodges, you can make it more fancy and
Yeah,
everything. You can make it a black tie event. Make it a cool event.
yeah,
Make it
yeah.
special.
But you made me lose my train of thought now. It was a good train of thought. I don't remember what I
My
was
fault.
gonna say.
It's my
You killed
fault.
it. But anyway, yeah, just make it a big event, and people see all the things going on, and have the president MWSA or someone that's appointed just talking about all the good things that all the lodges are doing, and how many perfect teeth kits they gave away, and how much
Or
money
the DDGM.
or the DDGM, yeah, even better, and yeah, and then you do your community builder awards and your golden trowels and whatever. I think that's ideal. I think that'd be really cool just to do. Um, Let me see here. I saw something. So James says non-Masons are allowed to be at Grand Lodge. Should we change the rules to that?
Well, they're only allowed to be at Grand Lodge before and after session.
Yeah.
So they're only there during the pomp and circumstance and then at the installation. That's the only time. I don't know. That's
Yeah, but you're
Grand
also
Lodge
not
is
supposed to. You're also not supposed to do photography during lodge. You're also not supposed to get up and leave during lodge. And a lot of these things are kind of. We know we're not supposed to do it at Grand Lodge, but I don't know. Grand Lodge is kind of its own thing. I think the rules apply, but I
yeah,
think they're a little bit
that's a
different.
tough one because yeah, and you don't have all the symbolism in our Grand Lodge at least that you see in a regular lodge or other lodges. It's more of a stadium type thing, so it really doesn't represent as much to the people as if you know what I mean. But if we did have more of the mystery shown, maybe we shouldn't have people there. But either way, that can go either way with me. I'd still show up either way.
Yeah. Sis Bangler
My my
says he's
my
about to
kids
he's
go with
about to
me.
hop off, so we can start the real conversation here in a minute.
We'll start talking about Seth
The
Spangler.
the real reason that we came here now that Seth is leaving. Bye,
Yeah.
Seth. You'll never know.
Thank you for joining
Yeah,
us.
thanks for
We
joining.
do appreciate
Appreciate
you.
it.
We
Yeah,
do appreciate you. We do.
Seth's all right. He's an all
Seth,
right guy.
Seth always shows. He's always showing up to all of our lives and everything. So we love him and we're grateful. We're grateful for all the guys that are showing up. Are we still keeping most of the people here that?
Oh, we got about 11 people right now. I mean, it's this
Wow,
has been a
that's
really good
good. That's
conversation.
good. I'm glad we're getting good questions from our brothers. I mean, you're just hearing what we feel about things. It's not, this isn't cut in stone. I mean, I'm interested to know. We need to get Brother Kirkpatrick on here one of these days.
Yeah, I like
He's
that. Uh,
he's a good brother to get on. Actually, most of the brothers that have come on would be great interviews, I think.
yeah. So, oh gosh, Olivier, uh, he says, question: what does a good MWSA look like? Man, I'll be honest.
I can't even tell you.
I'll be completely frank. Like my original district that I was raised in has an MWSA. Uh, I was pretty new. It was quite a long time ago too. My current district does not, and I've kind of when I initially joined it, I kind of pushed for it, and there was just zero interest. I probably should push again. I think a good MWSA. I don't know the number, but I'll use it as an example. Kyle Walquest invited me to come talk to his MWSA up in I think it was in Dallas or one of the Scottish Rite temples up there, and I like how they do it. You have your dinner, you have your business meeting, and then you have a guest speaker. Make it educational. Well, I like how they did it. Listen, I don't know how they do it now, but that's when Kyle was the president. Have
Well,
your
most
meal,
of the
have your
time,
meeting, have a speaker.
the ones that I've seen have been the same way. You have a keynote speaker that speaks on something educational that's good for all the lodges to hear. Um, the big thing with MWSA, just like anything else, is you need to have more than just the same people that show up to the same events all the time. It really, for MWSA to be successful, you need to have um, more than just officers involved.
Yeah.
You need to have a bigger showing of your past masters, and you need to have a. It's like with anything.
So James Kirkpatrick just says they have
That's a tough one.
a,
It's a
uh,
tough
a
one.
joint MWSA meeting Wednesday at the TMRC with Jim Rumsey. And frankly, I think that's cheating. If you already have Jim Rumsey there, it's already going to be a good meeting. So that's not fair. But yeah, William MWSA 39 San Antonio. We have bi-monthly meetings with guest speakers like Masonic Charities, Masonic Youth Organizations, DDGM, and appreciation dinners. Uh,
And that's a good idea, is because so many people don't know what the actual charities are doing. So yeah, having board members from the charities is
yeah.
a good idea.
So Fluff had a good point for the non-Masons. What is an MWSA? It's a
Oh yeah.
Master War. This MWSA stands for Master Warden Secretary Association, and it is almost like it's not it's Masonic, but it's not like
It's supposed to be a meeting of the minds
yeah.
for the business
But
side
it's like
of Freemasonry.
it's like an umbrella organization over. It's not over, but it's
Not over anything.
yeah,
It's
it's not
just
over anything. There's no decision making power or anything
it's
like
it's
that.
kind of like the Rotary Club of Freemasonry, right?
Yeah,
Because it's supposed to be talking about the business side of Freemasonry, and how the lodges can work together to get the most benefit
yeah.
for the fraternity,
Can
right?
I just say something crazy? Because this has been bothering me for a while, and the lack uh, of direction about what I'm about to tell you frustrates me to no end. So we at the lodge level we vote our officers. We vote the wardens. We vote the worship master and the minor officers, right? And that's we democratically elect who leads our lodges, right? The process for district deputy is just we're just told. It's just told to us. And the district deputy is a very important position that leads our district. I think first of all, I think every district should have an MWSA. And I think the MWSA should be what votes to determine who the district deputy is. I think the district should have some control over who actually ends up basically leading their district for a year instead of just spontaneously being told, hey, this past master that you haven't seen in 2 years or who has it. I don't know.
I
I'm
think that's a good
frustrated by the
idea.
process.
I think that's a good idea, but I think that the reason why it's not practical, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, is because, like, in my district, we have 5 or 10 guys that show up at every lodge in the district, and those same 5 or 10 guys are going to be the same 5 or 10 guys that end up in the MWSA, and they're going to be the same 5 or 10 guys that are going to decide on everything. And so I think it needs to go a little bit different, because
Okay.
in small town USA or small town Texas, like I'm in, that's the reality, is that we all go to each other's events, and we're already pretty. MWSA just creates another night to where the
Yeah.
same people are getting together for the same stuff, because we don't have a wide variety like in San Antonio or Dallas or Fort Worth or what have you.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was a
we got
maybe
several
if it was a
people
joint district,
we got several
maybe if it's
people pointing out that he is the representative of the most worshipful Grandmaster. So it makes sense to appoint him. like I said, I was going to tell you something crazy. I didn't say it was going to make sense. I just, it's I don't know.
But when the
It just seems so
grandmaster, but when the deputy grandmaster doesn't know the person
yeah.
firsthand, maybe he ought to rely on the district and not just on somebody else's word to pick that
It
person.
just feels, and
Right?
I see what you guys are saying. Like it's his representative, it's his discretion, it's his call. I get it, but it just feels so arbitrary, and like I'm already aware of a certain district deputy of a certain district, and it's like, man, I could think of 4 or 5 past masters that have busted their butts for years, far beyond what this person's done, and there should be some merit or something. I don't know. They, the
Well,
more
and
you
you see,
offer,
and
the
you
more
see so many, yeah, and you see so many that are regurgitated that really shouldn't be because there are so many well-serving people that would do a damn good job and would work hard for the position, but you see the same people being put in that position um, because of I don't know.
so lots of good points. A good grandmaster would get advice from some folks when he doesn't know them. Absolutely. That says a lot more than fluff. Will, that means you have to nope. And the grandmaster should reach out to. Oh, this was Sean Rothberg. Uh, is it Sean? Is it Seth? Brother Rothberg. He says the grandmaster should reach out to the district deputy about what's going on. Yeah, I mean the grandmaster should be aware. The outgoing grandmaster should be pretty aware. But yeah, yeah, and like James has pointed
Well,
out, like he was a grandmaster of the
well, the
Grand Council.
grandmaster does know what's going on. That's why
Yeah,
we make our visits so that we can say what's going on.
yeah. I mean
So I'll
James,
say that
go
that's
ahead.
what we're supposed to do. If
Yeah,
we're doing our job, that's what we're supposed to do is tell the grandmaster what's
yeah.
going on.
I mean I'm sure it's not. I know there's a reason for it. Let me just put it. I know there's a reason for it. I I had to get a frustration off my chest, I guess, just because it feels so random.
Well, I do think that grandmasters should appoint, the people that they think are worthy. I just think that if you've got a grandmaster that or a future grandmaster that's detached from that area, maybe there should be a better way of determining that instead of just relying on the oldest guy in the fraternity in that district,
Yeah,
or just relying on the loudest person in that district, or just you know what I'm saying.
yeah. I know what you're saying. I got you, man. I follow you. But yeah, I like I said, it was crazy, but sometimes I have crazy thoughts like that. I just I I, uh, I fully recognize what everybody's saying, and you are absolutely right. However, wait, what is Fluff saying? All right, Justin, if I ever become a grand, I'm appointing you, not Yates, though. I would make him too angry. Yeah, yeah. Go for it, man. Do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you would definitely cause problems if you made me write worshipful alongside of that guy. Yeah, can't do it.
Well,
Can't do it.
especially if he shaves.
I'd have to be at least grand steward or something. Come on.
Yeah. So James, so for those that don't know James Kirkpatrick, which you must be from out of state because everybody in Texas knows the illustrious James Kirkpatrick. But so he was a past basically the Grand Master of the Grand Council here in Texas several years ago, and hold on, what just happened?
Past Grand Master of the
Hang on,
South
hang on, hang
Grand
on, hang on, hang on,
Council.
hang on. That was weird.
I heard a noise. I don't know what that
No,
was though.
Google just my Chrome just stopped on me.
Ooh.
Google Chrome just stopped completely. So let's see here.
They're watching.
Yeah, so it just went down. Hold on. That was weird. Are we back? I guess we're back.
I am. Why aren't you using the app instead of Google Chrome?
Dennis, you do not know of,
Justin,
do not speak of things you do not understand. But anyway, okay,
I
so
do.
we're good. We're good. So anyway, so James was past high muckety muck of the council, and so he was saying, I made some of the old guys mad at who I selected for DDGMs, but I chose the ones who I thought were aligned with my vision. Not everyone will agree with my selections, and yeah. I mean, I see that too. So you probably don't want
And
the
that's
districts to
yes,
take it
and
out.
that is very important.
Yeah.
It is. That is very important.
So
But
I
at the
mean,
same time, you can, if you don't know the area, the deputy should probably ask guys, who's the most in line. I guess for the most part,
because what you don't want to
left
happen,
you.
what you don't want to happen is you don't want a contentious, not I'm not saying bad, but a contentious grandmaster. Say like maybe like well, you don't want a contentious grandmaster, and you don't want a district that doesn't like him for whatever reason to say, hey, just going to get a district deputy that's not going to follow what he says. So we'll vote we'll vote for our new district deputy and put someone we don't like, or someone that doesn't like him also, if that makes
Well,
sense.
what bothers me, and it's not even that, but what bothers me is when you have somebody that all of a sudden joins a district, a lodge in a district, and 2 months later they're district deputy grandmaster. They have no business being district deputy grandmaster.
Oh, I haven't seen that, but yeah.
Oh, you haven't? I haven't seen it, but 2 or 3 times.
Well, I mean, you're South Texas, so I mean, you got way less
But
people to choose from.
But that's what bothers me is stuff like that. If that's what I'm speaking on. It's not that I have a problem with, people relying on other people's suggestions or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But because the grandmaster needs people who believe in their vision and their goals.
Yeah.
Otherwise the year's not going to be successful. He needs the people. It's buy-in, right?
So
we talked about it earlier.
So Rothberg.
So you're right, James.
Rothberg said, should the DDGM be older chronologically or Masonically? And I'll tell you this, man. I think it really depends on what you bring to the table. I think it's something we often do. I say we, but at the lodge level, I have seen brothers.
You can say we.
At a lodge level, I have seen lodges put people in the East. They have no business being in the East, but they're old and they want to be a past master before they die. I think sometimes I have no way to tell you one way or the other. We change grandmasters every year, so there's no way to say. But I think sometimes we put people as district deputies just so they can say they were a district deputy before they died. And so I don't think that's a good practice either way. But yeah, I think it happens.
I think we should put in the people who are most competent to do the job. It's just like in the Blue Lodge. We shouldn't hold back on either way.
Yeah.
So whoever the grandmaster picks is got my support.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Absolutely. I will support. Absolutely. Full disclosure, I will 100% support.
Yeah, I will always support the grandmaster, and I will always support his decisions. And because I support Grand Lodge.
Absolutely. So the question was, can you share district deputies in chapter and council? And the question's already been answered. Usually you don't. I know when I was district deputy.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to relax a little bit for a minute.
For York Right, I ended up doing both the same year. So I was the district deputy for chapter and council the same year. I think that was really a lot of that came down to just not having a lot of people to choose from at the time. but it was also a smaller
Knowing you,
district.
it had to be.
It was a
Yeah.
smaller district, like the York Rat district now is really big, but at the time it was pretty small, and so I think it was just a matter of not having enough past high priests and Thrice Celestial masters that were willing to do it. And me being young and dumb, I volunteered to do both. And that was a
Of
lot of
course.
visiting. That was a lot of work. It was fun though. Yep.
Yeah, it's been real tough for me this year because of all the travels that I've been doing, and then having the surgery on top of that for to be a district deputy grand master. And
Yeah, I can only imagine.
yeah, I feel bad because I don't feel like my grandmaster got the most out of me that he should have. Though, I can definitely say that I've given um, a
So
lot more than I've seen from others.
Fluff
In the
has
past.
Fluff has said, I heard through the grapevine that DCOs, district communication officers, are disappearing next year. Am I the only one who is sad about this? And then Rothberg says, who is your GM, Yates? Brad Billings is our GM. He's our Grand
Brad
Master.
Billings is all of our
Yeah,
grandmasters,
yeah,
and I'm the DDGM this year.
yeah.
Um,
But it's not just the DCOs that are disappearing, according to what the rumor
right,
mill
it's the
say.
service teams.
Yeah.
The district instructor is going to stay, but everybody else will go away. The DDGM will stay, the district instructor will stay, but everybody else will go away. But the big push is going to be for MWSA.
Yeah.
Which I can understand that. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. The only problem is, like I said, in areas like mine, it makes it real tough because then you end up with the same guys doing the same thing and all this. It's really
Yeah,
so,
you get guys that only do like chapter and council, and you get guys that only do commandery, and you get guys that only do Scottish Rite and Grotto and whatever, but you don't have people that only do MWSA. So my point is,
right,
you're running into
right,
the same people. But yeah,
right.
I don't know.
But on the flip side, Fluff, don't worry, it'll come back.
On the fluff side, flip. Yeah, it'll
On
come
the
back.
flip side, flip, flip.
Flip.
On the flip side, Fluff,
Yeah, yeah.
don't mess me up. I'm heavily medicated.
But yeah, any more questions? It's been a
But
good. It's
you
been
know,
what?
but it is sad that we're losing that thing. I would say that even if our districts lose those people, if the people that are currently in that job doing that job are good at that job, let them keep doing it and ask them to keep doing it even though it's not official.
Yeah,
There's no reason they can't. Nobody can tell them not to post on Facebook what's going on throughout the district. And so if you got somebody that's good at it, that's in tune with the district, man, have them keep doing it. And I'm not saying that to buck the system or anything. I'm just saying that if
mm,
somebody's good at doing it, do it, man.
yeah.
It's
James
just like us.
Kirkpatrick says, "Thank you. I really enjoyed the presentation. Thank you, James. I really appreciate you coming on. Seriously, we need to
James,
get you.
you made it a good presentation. You made it good with your questions. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
yeah, but yeah. We need to get him on sometime.
Absolutely.
Have another York rat. That one we had with oh my gosh, what was the last one we did? I forgot. It was York rat. Who was on there? Let me look. Do you remember what I'm
I'm
talking
just gonna I'm just gonna let him
about?
dig himself into this hole.
Man, I'm having a brain fart. Oh gosh, who was it? Jeff Bennett. That video with Jeff Bennett has almost 500
I knew who it
views.
was. I'm just saying I knew who it
No,
was.
you
I wasn't
didn't. No, you
gonna tell
didn't.
him
We
because
had
I don't know what he's on your camera, but I wasn't gonna tell him because I
yes,
because he was the one who set it all up and got it all going, and I was so proud of him. He finally got somebody on the show, and it wasn't
yeah.
just me.
But my point was, it was a really good conversation. It was very
It
popular.
was. It
Um,
was.
and so we definitely need to
We learned a lot.
definitely need to
We
have
learned a
another York
lot.
rat conversation. And
Yeah, but I gotta have Scottish first, so we'll have to
oh,
we'll have to do some
we've
study.
had plenty of
No,
Scottish
just
Rite
kidding,
cars.
just kidding.
So Fluff says, "Thanks
No,
for the
we.
mention of the outdoor of Order of the Temple on that one." Yeah, that was.
Oh, that was awesome. I can't wait to go to the next one, and I've already been told that I'll get that memo when it comes, and you can
Yeah, I
believe
didn't know
me.
that was going to happen.
You can
York
believe
Rite,
me.
York
I'll be
Rite.
there.
So Fluff says, "I think York Rite is growing. It is growing. It absolutely is growing." And I don't know why. I don't know why it's doing like it is, but I'll tell you at Hillsboro, um, it's it's basically the expectation. That kind of shifted the culture. Whereas the expectation in Hillsboro, and once you finish your master's degree, you really should go through York Rite the rest of the way. Go through chapter and council. We don't have a commandery right now, unfortunately. We were going to get one, but it fell through. But it's about culture shift.
Yeah, I
And
don't blame them with that attitude.
what
That
attitude?
you should. That you should. I'm just kidding. I did it.
James, we're actually talking about putting together another festival because we have quite a few brothers in the district that are. I think we're looking at about 5 or 6 right now, just in our district that are wanting to go through and receive the degrees. And so I don't know. You may hear from one of us pretty soon because it was a
Hey, James,
conversation.
James, we will have you on before too long, and I may ask. Um, oh my gosh, now here is my turn to have a brain fart. Um, Brother Jason Reichenberg, companion Reichenberg, they're growing pretty strong at Guadalupe. Chapter council and commandery, and they're going to have for the first time a festive. I mean, a festival in February, and so we definitely need to have you on. And we may have Jason on at the same time because it's pretty exciting that yeah, it is growing,
Yeah.
and there are people are deciding. Look, man, we're not going to sit around and wait for a festival to come up so that we can get these guys in because guys are waiting too long
Yeah.
unnecessarily,
Well,
and
that's the
they're
reason a lot of people
stepping
don't
up.
do it because
Right, and they're stepping up.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking for Hillsboro because we're still. I mean, it was just a conversation. I think like last week or the week before. I think what we're probably going to try to do. We'll have to get dispensation, and I recognize that and everything, but try and find a good spot for like an outdoor festival or something like that. Just change it up. I mean, it's a nice time of year if we do it around fall or spring or something like that. But we're looking to do it probably this year.
I hear there's a graveyard over there that has some chairs seated like a lodge setting over there near Hillsboro. But that might not be your thing though.
No, I was just thinking that the Grand High Priest is very active at Hillsboro right now. I mean, if we need dispensation.
Very cool.
I'm
Oh,
just,
very
but
cool.
no, that would be really cool. I don't know if that would fly, but that would be really cool.
Yeah, I don't think that would be very appropriate for that setting for that particular for the whole thing. That maybe for
Yeah.
a part, but not the whole part.
So
But
Shmuley.
yeah, I did the same thing when I came out of Freemasonry or out of the when I became a Master Mason. The first thing I joined was York Rite,
Mm,
and it is the continuation of the blue degrees that we follow in Texas, and I think it is a good thing to do. I wouldn't limit myself just to that though, because I think that there's so much to be gained from the Scottish Rite as well.
yeah.
It's all about all the light, right? So as you find time to increase your light, do it.
Mm,
Do it. Just do it. Every Mason should have all the Freemasonry they can afford. I wholeheartedly believe that because it's they're different experiences, they're different looks, and the more you do expand yourself into the all the different bodies, the more you get that global sense of of what Freemasonry really is, and not, just the little, I can't make a square with my hand, the little box that you know you're in with just your lodge.
James,
You know,
I did not know James was 33rd degree. It doesn't surprise me. I just didn't know it.
yes, he is.
Did not know
Yes,
that.
he is.
Did not know that. That's cool. Dallas or Fort Worth?
Dallas.
Dallas? Are you sure?
Gotta be.
I heard Fort Worth was the place to be. Yeah.
My grandfather was in Dallas, and that's why I say Dallas.
Fort Worth.
Cause,
Yeah, that's what I thought. Fort Worth's the place to go.
Because I'm partial to Dallas.
Yeah. That explains a lot right there.
Yeah. So is, Jim Rumsey is partial to Dallas as well.
Oh wait, you know what?
A lot of intelligent thinking men are in Dallas.
Wait a second. I'm backwards.
Not Fort Worth.
Dallas was
Yeah, you're absolutely.
Dallas was the one I was going to go to. Oh well, that's fine.
That's the one you should, because they're closer to you.
Yeah. So I take back what I said about you, because that's probably what I'll end up.
You ought to.
I heard good things about it. I'm sure they're both great. I just heard good things about Dallas.
Actually, in Texas, we've got a very good. We've got some very good valleys. We have a very good orient when it comes to Scottish Rite Freemasonry.
Yeah.
We really do have some real good thinkers in all of the different valleys, and we were very fortunate to have that.
So something that I don't remember who said it earlier, but something that I was thinking that kind of changed my mentality is I used to kind of be of the mindset that a big hurdle we had in York Rite was we had too many degrees, and it was all local for the most part, right? And then it was, I don't remember, it was one of our conversations we had with somebody, and it was pointed out like Scottish Rite has way more degrees. They have a lot of degrees, and I mean it's local too. And it's like, so that's just an excuse. There's no reason why we as local chapters of councils we can't put on good degrees. And I agree.
Well,
I think it was Fluff. I think Fluff said that it's ideal, like some of these, if you could do them one-on-one, and I agree with that. I do.
Yes. Yes.
But I don't know.
I think the fourth degree should be done in the lodge, and that can be done with a smaller group and do smaller sessions. That should be, in my opinion. But after that, I think that the York Rite ought to do what the Scottish Rite does. We have the reunions at about the same time every year, and all of the valleys do it at about the same time every year. The York Rite ought to do the same thing, and even if you're even if there's 100 different lodges that are putting them on, have them all at about the same time every year, and be consistent, and all do it at the same time. That's so that everybody's going through it.
That's a good point. Don't just do it as needed. Just say, look, this is when it's going to happen. We've been planning it for
now. The
4
one,
months.
I would say the fourth degree, do that one kind of as needed, and then building up to the festival. Then you know who's going to be attending the festival, because they've already done the fourth degree, and they've got that one done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like they've got that extra piece of the pie, which is natural in other grand jurisdictions, like in England and probably Australia, like our brothers from Australia. That's those grand jurisdictions. It is 1 through 4. It doesn't stop at the third degree.
Yeah. So like Shmuley said, that's Rothberg
in Mexico.
But like you said, and I've mentioned this before, that's really the problem with the festivals, in my opinion, is that there's just so much information, and it like my festival was chapter, council, and commandery. It was everything, and there's no way there's no way I could have told you anything about any specific degree by the time it was all said and done. And so I think maybe bye James, thanks again. I appreciate you coming. I enjoyed your country.
Take care, James. Thank you so much for coming.
But
we will definitely have you on.
But I think there needs to be almost like a compromise between the approaches. Do the first handful solo, and then do the Royal Arch as hey, we're gonna We'll do that once a year. But I don't know, man. The issue is if you do them solo and you say, hey, every January is when we do our festival or whatever, but everyone's already gone through most of the degrees up to like the Royal Arch. They're just kind of in limbo. I mean, they can't really go to any meetings because you have to be a Royal Arch Mason. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think there's a fun. I know. I'll tell you this. I think for Commandery, if you could do the first two on their own, and then go and do the Order of the Temple as like a festival or whatever. No. I'm getting mixed up. Do the first two as the festival, and then go back to your home Commandery and do the Order of the Temple. Just have it confer directly on you. That makes a huge impact. We did that at Cleveland a long time ago with some brothers before Cleveland moved. But we had brothers, and they went to a festival, and they went through the first two Commandery degrees or orders, and then we brought them back to Cleveland and put the Order of the Temple on. And I mean, Order of the Temple's pretty flippin' awesome. So if you could do it solo, it makes a huge difference.
Right. And yeah, but I think it looks better when you have more people in attendance. I think that when you have more people available to do the degree, and I just don't think you'll have that with taking it home.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think a lot of now this is another good thing that's happening now in York Rite is that they're setting a higher standard in what they're expecting from the people that are doing the degrees, right?
Yep.
So they're expecting people to practice. They're expecting people to learn the floor work and floor school and all that kind of stuff. And so that's in itself is going to help tremendously.
Yeah. So it's almost 11:30 on a Sunday night.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, they say time flies. Fluff's gone. James is gone. Sean's gone. They're bailing on us. So I think it's probably time that we wrap this up for the night. But we definitely need to make this a weekly thing. Make it more of a Shmuley's about to be gone. So I think we need to make this more of a regular thing we do. I think this was a really good conversation.
And I guess that this is the right time too, at 9:30 on Sunday night.
I don't know if it's the right. I don't know. Well, we could try it again and just see if it's consistent.
We've had the best turnout of our local brothers that we like to talk to about these things.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. So with that, I'm gonna say we wrap this bad boy up and put a bow on it. And unless you got anything else you want to add, no, okay. So
no.
But that said, thanks guys. Appreciate everybody jumping in, and definitely keep an eye out. We will be coming out with
we're
merch
gonna
soon.
We've got the merchandise coming in. The base, the Gen 1, the first gen of this stuff is done, and now we're just deciding on how we're going to market it and to what extent. So
I mean, it's good enough to
that,
be excuse me, it's good enough to make Dennis look cool, so you know it's worth it.
Yeah, and I let you see my house just because I had that. I didn't put up the big screen and blur out my house. So I let y'all see the merchandise. So
cool.
You're welcome to my home.
Bros. Good chatting with you. What?
Brothers,
don't finish that.
I said, bro.
Don't finish that. Later.
Brothers, thank you. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. We love Freemasonry, and we love what we do, and we love it when our brothers come on and ask and stir up conversation. That's what this is all about. Is to further Freemasonry.
Wrap it up.
Thank you.
Up. Later.
You're such a kind person.